What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a new show that I'm going to review. This is going to be Our Kind of People on Fox. This is season 1, episode 1, and the episode was titled Reparations, you guys. So this is another show by Lee Daniels. Before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this, review or any other channel and are not already subscribed, then I'm gonna need you guys to do me a big favor: hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Stop taking me out on this date. Light up all the buttons on the channel. So that out the way, let's go ahead and talk about Our Kind of People. Good opening episode, I will say that. So let's talk about it. All right, you guys. So Our Kind of People. So this is another Lee Daniels production. So with this one, I hope that Our Kind of People doesn't, suffer the same. I won't say suffer. I just hope it doesn't go down like what Empire did. Because I used to watch Empire. I started Empire season 1, and then I fell off of Empire somewhere between season 2 and season 3, and I never ever went back. Never went back to Empire. Because Empire started out good, but then after a while it just got... Actually, when I stopped watching Empire? When they brought in Lucius's mother. That was when I stopped watching that show. I'm like, oh my God, this is not good for me. So I was like, you know what? We're done with it. So this is just an introduction episode. I know this is based off of a book, which I've never read the book. So I may one day read the book, right? So this, like I said, introduction episode to the characters. So the episode, we open up and we see three women in the car driving. Oh, there's a BS. Is that outside of my car? I hope it's outside. Yeah, it is. So there were 3 women we saw, right? So they're in the car. One of them's name is Piggy, who's played by Debbie Morgan. If you guys don't know Debbie Morgan, we all know Debbie. Debbie's played on Power as Tasha's mom. She's played on Charmed as the seer. She's played on All My Children as Dr. Angela Hubbard. So yeah. And then we also have Ange, who is portrayed by Yaya DaCosta from America's Next Top Model. I believe she's also... I don't know if she's still on that show or not, but you guys can let me know. She was on the show Chicago Med, I believe. And she's also portrayed... she was on All My Children years ago. I think that was her first acting gig, and she did phenomenal. I loved her on All My Children when she played Angela Hubbard's... coincidentally, Debbie Morgan's character, she played Angie's daughter, Cassandra, that she had after her husband, Jesse, was missing for years, thought to be dead, right? And then we see another young lady in the back seat. Her name is Nikki. So the whole time, they stopped at the beach, right? So Nikki hopped into the ocean, to the water, right? And I was looking the whole time because, Ange was talking about her mom. So I'm like, okay, so I was thinking, well, damn. So Piggy is not her mom, so she's not her mother. Piggy is her aunt, actually. And Nikki is Ange's daughter. I'm like, oh, pretty cool. I was like, wow, okay. So the reason that Ange, Piggy, and Nikki are in the Bluffs, they're in there because, they want... Ange wants to open up a pop-up shop in honor of her mother, who worked in, I think it's Oak Bluff, as a maid, right? So they'll be staying at a boarding house where her mother, did hair out of the boarding house. Now, the photos that I was looking up of her mother, because when you think of a maid, well, I guess even in this day and age, you still have housekeepers, right? So I guess when they say, because they kept saying maid, and when I think of maid, I think of back in the olden days. But hey, whatever, right? So Ange doesn't know who her father is, right? And Piggy says that her sister never told her who Ange's father was. So then she has this flashback, right? And her mom's name is Eve. So she's having a flashback to someone coming to pay her mother off, right? And I believe the person was paying her... it'll come back up again later in the episode. So I believe the person was paying her mother off to basically keep the secret of who Ange's father is. So I was like, okay, Pretty cool, pretty interesting, right? So then when we found out that Nikki was actually Angie's daughter, we found out that, Nikki has had a little bit of trouble, right? She said she got expelled from school for fighting. And so at this point, they're getting ready to go to this party. I'm going to pause here and then we're going to move forward. So I don't necessarily know how long this first episode review is going to be. Because like I said, it was just an introduction and we're still trying to get to know the characters, right? Trying to get to know the characters and their names. But we'll definitely move forward. All right, you guys. So let's see. So then we met Mama Liv. She was there to welcome. So everyone. So this is like, if you guys are familiar with the TV show, what was the name of that show? It came on ABC. Because it actually kind of gives me that vibe. Revenge. That's what it was. You guys remember, if you guys never watched the television show Revenge, you guys, what was her? I can't remember what the character's name was, but the girl, she went to the Hamptons. So this is a summer retreat for all of them, right? So it's kind of like it, but it's not. So Oak Bluff is, I guess, for black people to come and to have fun for the summer, right? Instead of going to the Hamptons. So we are introduced to Leah Franklin DuPont, and we are introduced to her kids, Lauren and her son Quincy, and then we also met her husband Raymond. So I'm assuming that in this town that the big families are the Franklins and the DuPonts, which those two families. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in your face. Those two families merged together. Who the hell is Jackie? So there's a character in here named Jackie, and I don't know who Jackie is. We'll have to get there. I will say right off the bat, when I met Leah, Leah is a rude ass person, right? Leah is hella freaking rude. So what they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be having this party for the Gracies, right? So that's right off the plane they got to get ready for the party, right? So this is also the same party that Nikki, Ange, and Piggy will be going to, right? So when Ange makes it there, she meets her friend, and her friend's name is Josephine. And if you guys watch Being Mary Jane, she portrayed the young lady, Raven. She portrayed her Mary Jane's niece. She also was in the Clark sisters movie that came out last year. So if you guys saw those, you know who she is. So Josephine. So not Nikki, but Ange is talking to Josephine, right? So with this being back in, the Bluffs. So being back in the Bluffs, somebody's calling my phone. Sorry, you guys. So being back there in the Bluffs, and like I said, you guys know she wants to open up Eve's. What is it called again? Eve's Crown. So she wants to be a part of the Gracies at this. She wants to be a part of the Gracies, and she actually in this party she wants to go up and meet the host of the party, who is Leah, and Josephine's like, that's quite bold of you. So she goes up and she introduces herself to both Raymond and to Leah. Now, her reception from Leah was extremely rude to her, right? So Ange wants to give her a donation. She goes into her purse, takes out a check, and tries to present it to her. She's like, there's a donation box at the front door. Like, you couldn't take this damn check and take it to the donation box? Okay, Leah, I don't like you. I really don't like her, right? So on the other side, we see as Nikki is at the bar, right? And Quincy is talking to her. So then Lauren and another young lady by the name of Taylor come up, right? So they're talking. So Lauren is much like her mother, rude as fuck, right? So Taylor, she embraces Nikki, but she also drops a phone into her bag, right? And I was like, I wonder, how is that gonna play out going forward, right? we'll definitely get to it and talk about it because it does come back up again in the episode. So I'm gonna pause here and we're gonna keep it moving. All right, you guys. Next up, let's talk about Leah and her father. What is his name? His name is Teddy. I hate when people come up. Damn. Hope you guys didn't hear that music. So where are we at? So Leah and Teddy. So I get the vibe that Leah and Teddy don't like each other. So Teddy, so they have their own family business, right? So what they're gonna do is I think they're buying into a football team, and then they're also going to have a new stadium that's going to be bringing some business into the town, right? But from what I'm gathering from Teddy is Teddy gives me all the shady businessman vibes. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. It's the Franklin family, right? You just don't think you're gonna necessarily like them. Also, I will say that with Teddy sort of gives me a mild version of Lucius from Empire. He gives me a mild version of him. So we see Raymond. So he's at a basketball court, right? And he's talking to Quincy. And he's telling Quincy that he wants to take him to this kingship meeting and basically how he wants to spend time with him during the summer, right? I feel like there's a lot in that marriage that we'll have to unpack as we get along because it doesn't really seem like Quincy is really feeling his father, right? So it's a lot. I think it's a lot with this family that we're going to find out over time. So remember, I was telling you guys about Ange, and Ange wants to be a part of the Gray City. So she's talking to Josephine, and she's telling Josephine that she wants her to nominate her. And Josephine like, girl, that is a little bit too soon, right? Speaking, let me backtrack too also. Backtrack to the party. So at the party, I did forget to mention that because it wasn't in my notes. Because like I said, with me watching this episode, I was more so specifically trying to get the characters' names down so that way I could talk about it to you guys. So we also met Tyreek, who's portrayed by Lance Gross. So, you know, at one point, I think she broke her heel, right? So he came over and helped her. So she's talking about, you know, being nominated, and that's when, you know, Josephine was like, that's a little bit ambitious, you know, but she says, I'll do it nonetheless, but you're going to get a little bit of, you're going to get some looks. When you get the looks, you'll get up, they'll interview you, and that'll be that, right? So then there's a package at the door, and Tyreek sent Ange an invitation to a party, and he sent her some shoes, right? So on the flip side, Nikki went to a party because, you know, when she was talking to Quincy earlier, when Taylor and Lauren came up, Taylor invited her to a party. So they're like, oh, you showed up. Actually, it was at the party that she slipped upon her bag. I got ahead of myself. So then we see as, oh, it makes a lot of sense now, right? That makes sense why she did what she did. So there's this big photo of Leah, Raymond, Lauren, and Quincy. And in lipstick, Taylor wrote lies on the photo. And that was the last time in this episode that we saw Taylor, right? So Ange showed up to the party that Tyreek invited her to with these big ass, clunky ass, ugly ass shoes on, right? So back over to the party with Nikki. I'm trying to get these names, you guys. So back over to the party with Nikki, we hear Lauren screaming, you know, for Taylor. So Taylor done went over the boat at this point. I was like, damn, the hell happened that the girl is over the boat? So Lauren is saying that, you know, she and Taylor were arguing. Taylor was drunk, and I guess Taylor fell overboard. But we'll talk about that as well in a few minutes. So I'm going to pause here, and then we're going to keep moving forward. All right, you guys. I kept trying to think about who the fuck is Jackie. Okay, now I know who Jackie is. I remember. I was right. I was just because I was looking. I had the closed captioning on when I was watching the episode, and I was like, "Who is Jackie?" I just thought about it. when Leah them got off the plane, there was a maid that came up, and her name is Jackie. I don't know if we'll see her again, but that's who Jackie is. So got it. So the main people that we have is Nikki, Piggy, Ange, Lauren, Mama Liv, Leah, Taylor, Lauren, Quincy, Teddy, Raymond, Tyreek, and Josephine. Got it. So, Tyreek. So, Ange asked Tyreek, so do you normally gift women, do you normally give people with shoes? He's like, nah, he doesn't do that. He just felt like she could use a leg up trying to get into the society, basically. And he tells her that he does in summer here in the Bluffs that, when, his father the man that his father worked for put him through boarding school, which helped him get through college and own his own construction business, right? So as Leah, as they were about to kiss, oh man, I didn't mean to burp in your face today. As Tyreek and Ange were about to kiss, Ange got a phone call, and it's Nikki because of the situation that's happened over on the boat with Lauren and with Taylor, right? So Ange heads over there, right? So the cops are saying that Nikki told them that, that Lauren and Taylor were arguing with one another, right? Lauren is saying that she's lying, but you were on the deck screaming her name. But okay, whatever. So Lauren is like, but she's drunk. And Ange's like, my daughter doesn't drink. She's like, smell her breath. So Ange goes home. She grounds Nikki. So we find out a little bit more about Nikki. Nikki is upset with Ange because she feels that Ange is thirsty to fit into these communities, into these little groups, right? So she's put her through private school, put her around people that she is not like. So she's drank, she's smoked, she's done this. So you guys, sorry, my notes. Let's see. So yeah, like I said, Ange is trying to fit in. So the next day we see, as the Gray Cities, they're introduced Mama Liv. She is introducing the new president, which is Leah. Now, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like Mama Liv doesn't really like Leah that much. I'm getting the vibe that she doesn't like her that much, right? So, like I said before, you remember I told you guys that Ange, she wanted for Josephine to nominate her. So Josephine nominated her. Ange stood up, gave her story, right? Told them who she is, and they asked her about her, asked her, basically like what is her connection to the Bluffs, right? She says, my mother, she used to come here during the summer. I'm like, girl, you just flat out told a lie, but okay. You didn't tell them that your mama was a maid, which nothing's wrong with your mama being a maid, but I mean, you looking at these snooty black people, so yeah, they're gonna look their noses down on you, basically. So Leah tells them that there's going to be a mother-daughter fashion show. So she's asking for a stylist, right? So Ange's like, I can handle that. Leah was like, she told someone else to handle it. You're on food and snacks. I'm like, food and snacks? Rude ass. Man, it would have took everything out of me not to punch the hell out of her, right? Okay. So after that, we go back to, where Ange and them are standing, right? So she's talking to Nikki, and she wants Nikki to come to the fashion show with her. Nikki was like, shit, I ain't got no choice. I'm already grounded. So then Nikki goes to her room, and the phone that Taylor slipped into her bag. She looks at the phone, she opens it, and there's a video. So on the video, it is Taylor and it's Lauren. So I'm like, oh, so Lauren has a secret. Lauren's a lesbian. Nothing's wrong with that, but okay, Lauren, you're in the closet, and you don't want Mommy Dearest to find out. So meanwhile, we see Mama Liv. Mama Liv hands Leah this folder. So Mama Liv, I believe Mama Liv already knew who Ange was, who Ange's mother was. And basically, in a nutshell, Mama Liv wants for Leah to basically eliminate this because she's saying that, basically what she's trying to say is not Leah, but Angie's family has a bad history on this town, and we want her out. We'll talk about that too. So let's move on, you guys. This might be a lengthy review. All right, you guys. So at the fashion show, remember the person that Leah put in charge of styling, they fell through. So Angie's doing the styling, and Leah is kind of shocked. I'm like, you put her on food and snacks, and she's good at what she can do, right? So then we see everybody walking in the fashion show. So then after after Lauren walks, actually before that, when Lauren was on the runway, she had a moment on the runway. So then Nikki went up to her and told her, basically she showed her the phone saying, I know your little secret, and it's fine, like, be who you are. But unfortunately, I guess in this lifestyle, in this society, she can't be who she is. So she then plays the victim once again. And she tells Leah that the girl is threatening her. I'm like, are you effing kidding me, right? So then so Leah, these character names, I'm going to get them together, you guys. Ange comes out, right? Ange is defending Nikki. And that's when Leah wants to be like, oh, we know you lied when you were at the, at the Gracies. She says, your mother was a maid. She says, yes, my mother was a maid, and I know who I am. So then Leah goes one step further and says, your mom went to jail for peddling drugs. And Angie's like, my mother never did anything like that, right? So then we move back over to, Angie's house, right? So we find out that Josephine, she's a DA, and she has all the files from the case against her mother, right? So then they find this VHS tape. I don't know where they got the VCR from, but they have a VCR as well. So they put the tape in the VCR, right? So it is Eve, looks like she's in an interrogation room, and she's telling this guy, you got to tell them that I didn't sell drugs. I didn't do this, right? Oh, I'm wheezing. So he says to her, he tells her something, and then he shuts the camera off. I'm like, oh, so this was a setup. So then, and the guy that is actually talking to Eve is Teddy. Teddy, Leah's father, right? So Ange has a flashback, right? She has the original flashback that she had, right, in the beginning of the episode, when the person came, paid her mother off, and left out, and she was like, Daddy. So she ran outside, and she's in her flashback. She's finally from the flashback. She's putting it together that was Teddy. Teddy's my father. And then we also see in the back seat that Leah was back there. Leah asked who was that girl, and Teddy told her it's nobody that you need to worry about, basically, right? So then we see Leah. So Leah is talking to Raymond, and she's, he was like, I thought you had a meeting. She says, I did, with my father. And she says he's retiring. He's going to be making me the chairwoman, right? So then someone comes out and tells Leah that, Ange has come over to pick up her wig. And then, Leah says, well, I'm kind of surprised that you came and picked it up yourself. She's like, well, I put a lot of money into that wig that I can't waste. So basically, in a nutshell, Leah wants to say, what happened at the party. That's not who I am. Like, I'm not about tearing black women down. I'm about lifting them up. Well, girl, why did you do it in the first place? If you're so called about lifting up black women, girl, goodbye. Goodbye, Leah. Goodbye. And bring them all down. But you guys, that's the first episode. I don't know how long this video is, but it's lengthy. I know that much. But yeah, you guys, it was a good first episode. I'm gonna stick with it, right? I'm definitely gonna stick with it. I just hope it doesn't go the way that Empire did, because I fell off of that, like I said before. But hey, let me know what you guys thought about the first episode of Our Kind of People. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share this video. Until the next one, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.